Well, um, the whole thing with the bones thing. I mean, I butchered animals. Do that all. It's being a ranger. But is there any particular reason why you took the bones? You said something about punishment after or again or something. I didn't understand that. It's like
It is my intent to force his soul back into the bones, that he may be forced to fight again on the side of good, that his honor may be restored.
uh, but your god is the god of the dead, right?
Correct. He is the god of the underworld.
Isn't going to the underworld a bit permanent?
It is only permanent when it happens.
Well, dead. So did that happen?
Death and transversal to the hereafter are not one in the same.
So so it's like a trip.
You are familiar, you said, with skeletons. Are you not also familiar with ghosts or specters or the like?
Heard stories about them. Never seen one myself.
Such creatures exist as a manner of being of creatures that have yet not traversed. It
So
is why the congregation is welcomed in so many places, that we can inter the dead without such things.
hmm. So if you don't do what you do, then the soul thing keeps milling about until you do the thing that you do, right?
It is possible.
Oh, but uh, we haven't heard Soren going like woo. So how do we? How do you? Is it
It takes a strong will to manifest one's self. He was not.
well, he was a coward, so yeah, no, I don't think he has a strong will of anything. So at that point, hmm. So you want to bring him back, put him in the bones. The bones stand up and they fight, right?
That is correct.
Well, just one question: why would he fight for us if he has a body back?
He would not have the choice.
Mm. And he thinks back to the fact that he threw a kid out of like a second story window, and not him, but someone his henchman, and terrorized the town and all that. I'm like, so you would have to walk the earth, and as long as you are around, he would have to follow your orders.
That is correct.
That sounds fitting. A man should be free to do what he needs to do in his life. curtails another man's freedom should pay the price.
And in death, he will be given the chance to atone for sin.
Okay? As long as it doesn't. Well, I suppose he'll hurt whoever you said to hurt, but besides, it doesn't hurt us. I have no problem with that. I might see enough blood and guts not to be worried about. So, sure. As long as you don't use him to wake up in the middle of the night to put pranks on us, I'll be fine.
As you may have seen, I am not of the martial prowess.
Ooh, you're pretty effective. Someone else would have died right on the spot. The thing you did, I don't know what is it, but got some scared. That's pretty useful. Turn the title back, I have to say. And I clap him in the back, but it's one of the times where he forgets his own strength. It's like boom. It's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean he's an old man, so
Sorry. And I hold him like that. Never mind.
what I am saying is that the church could use aid in bringing its word to those who have not heard it.
Okay. That sounds like, well, yeah. What do
Ve-
you want me to do about it?
Very good. Would you join me in prayer?
Yeah. I mean, if I die, and I will, and I don't want to go somewhere bad, that'll help. Sure, I'll join your prayer.
All
He,
right.
he does a
So-
thing with the little kids do that he's praying and he's like, oh yeah. And he says something like, okay. That's how he said, yeah.
Yeah, so we just join hands and pray
And sing
Or-
Kumbaya.
a number of minutes.
So you guys are getting, you're gathering outside on the backside of this house, and you're gathering, and you're going to anoint. You're
we
going to
shouldn't
anoint
do-
lessons,
Are
orbital
you gonna
kill.
do this? Are you gonna do this in public so anybody can see us?
That's what I heard.
Well, I thought you were practicing archery like out in the middle of somewhere.
In the back of the house.
Well, I mean, how public is the area where you're practicing archery? Are you targeting people?
No. I
Well,
don't
then
know.
it's
You
not
tell
that
me.
public, is it?
Okay.
Well, if we look at your house here,
Yeah, behind it is a wall. Are people just
Behind
wandering
it-
along the wall?
behind it is a wall, which you guys are having. So you guys are just taking, this ceremony's taking place right here.
Well, he
Guess
said
so.
behind the house. Well, behind the house is a wall. It's like you're saying your backyard is a public place. Well, I think you can do a lot of stuff in your own backyard without people noticing.
So, as this does take several minutes, we'll see if someone does wander by. I'll give let's see what yeah, this does take several minutes, and as you guys are doing it, you do see several people do wander by, and you are getting very strange looks from some of the villagers as you're performing this ceremony. And you're clasping arms, and you're chanting, and you use you pull out your divine icon. What does your divine icon look like, by the way?
Oh, it's described last session. It's a sickle.
So
It's a sickle I
you
wear
pull-
around my neck.
all right, so you pull out that sickle, and you anoint him. So you are now anointed, lessons in the congregation of the dead. So your patron god, you'll now change to be the lord of the underworld, and you'll click that button that says anointed next to it. So if any of his spells can benefit anointed characters, which is the whole reason why you'd want to be doing this kind of anointing method, other than role playing things, you basically get a buff from any of his spells if you're an anointed. It'll do more healing. I think like bless lasts longer. Like spells usually last longer if they're buff on someone who's anointed. So you're getting ready. You're finishing this anointment, and you hear someone call out, "What's happening back there? What are you two doing?"
We are simply having an important discussion.
Looks rather fishy. What's with all that chanting?
Why are you in our backyard?
I'm well. Keep it going. Have a good day.
I was like, that doesn't sound good. Whatever that was.
So that's the second day. While you guys are all about, you're being anointed. You perform this kind of ceremony in the backyard. Can I have everyone in the party roll glean information checks? And this would make sense, especially for Armon and Lunella or Elka, I should say, because you guys are going about and you're trying to recruit. So you're generally talking to people and figuring out, and you're trying to figure stuff out and ask around.
Unfortunately, I put those points into current affairs and not clean information.
No, I had a post check, but I have 4 and 43, so.
All right, so you guys are, there's your Hoxic, you're sitting out, you want to get a nice, you're a dwarf, you like to be out in the sun, right? That's what dwarves love. But you're out in a semi-public place. Maybe you're out by the well or by these trees here in the middle of the commons, kind of, working on this map. Maybe you're even like writing runes and translations in the in the dirt around you to try to make it easier and figure it out, or maybe you're even trying to remember some mountain ranges where this could be, and you overhear a conversation between two common village folks. One of them is maybe they're talking by the well. They're there's that was quite strange. Those soldiers came in at such a huff. They were scared half to death. They looked disheveled. I swear I've never seen soldiers without armor equipment. They looked like they'd just run through the woods. I swear they went straight to the manor house. No. I tell you, I saw a courier go running off to well, I can only assume it's to bash on. Well, there's nothing else up in the mountains out there. I don't know. Whatever do you think it is? And this kind of back and forth goes on for a little bit, but it sounds like the soldiers that you chased off arrived in Terran.
So
And that's what you kind of pick up. If you they're just getting water. If you'd like to speak to them.
I think I've heard what I needed to hear, though. So I think I'm definitely going to just go ahead and not draw suspicion to myself. Just kind of like casually shrug, whistle, wrap up my business here in the center, and maybe like go and find Orbital.
Okay. So we'll say this is, the anointment could have happened on the first day, and so this is the second day. Maybe Orman's working on fletching some arrows, or trying to do some sort of fine tuning of his bow, oil it, bow maintenance.
Oi!
Oh,
Yeah, you today. Well,
Supposed to me yesterday. What's going on?
yeah, you're different every day. But well, I'm sure you remember our good friends. Turns out they're in town. I mean, it makes sense. It was nearby.
Mm.
Talking to the Lord, and I'm gonna guess if they saw anyone's face, they might say something. I don't know how close you got to them, but I figured that'd be a bit of your business you'd like to know.
Oh, they saw the face of the. Oh no.
Yeah, a little something.
Well, I guess we have to hit the road sooner than we thought. Let's get
Yep.
everybody together. Besides, either we're gonna find Eric or we're gonna find his corpse.
I think
So-
with all Elka over there harassing more people to join her, I'll go and tell her. And so we'll spread the word.
And I go to the cleric, elf. I'm sorry, but it seems the people you scared of ran right here. They are up in the manor. So if anybody sees your face, they're probably gonna recognize us.
I do have a hood and some face black. Which, by the way, I hate saying because it sounds like I'm wearing blackface. But it is a thing that mechanically allows you to stealth around in an urban environment.
Mm. It's camo. That's what it is. It's camo.
But it's called face black. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, you might have to use it sooner or later because I'm sure that the soldiers will be coming down any moment, asking questions. So I would suggest you stay out of sight just in case. We didn't see you. Nobody saw you. Well, there were the people asking about what happened yesterday, but we can wave them off as long as you're not visible.
it is regrettable, but I feel our mission is of more import.
Yeah, that too.
By the way, mechanically, so you guys kind of might have some idea of,
Mhm.
if anything does happen. By foot, the fastest someone's going to get from Terran to Bashan will probably take around 3 days. By horse, maybe a little bit quicker. So if they're traveling by foot, it would probably take them 3 days to get to Bashan and 3 days to get back if they left immediately.
So if we leave within 6 days, we're good, I guess.
Well, the
Yep,
thing
this
is
has been
that
day 2.
yeah, if this is day 2, well, it depends if they left now or if they left immediately. Because I would need a maximum of 6 days, but Elka only needs, 3? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
4?
Yep.
Because she
4?
needs 4 days.
So she needs 2 more days. I need 4 more days. But that also assumes that they rush out, get everybody they need within a day, and then rush back. If they act like reasonable human beings, we can expect to have a day's leeway, I'd imagine. But that's just my out-of-character opinion.
Heading to Bashan. I mean, that's out of the way. Why we gotta worry about that if they're going there?
I mean, also, I guess it depends on what they tell them. If we got attacked and there was this crazy guy that came in the arrows in the night, then we have some leeway in that area. But if they say no, it was these guys that were following us, and there was a dwarf, and we got attacked, and that makes it hard.
Right.
So there's that. It all depends on how much they saw. And
yeah, it depends on a lot of things. What are you guys going to be doing?
I think if we really need henchmen, then we can wait at least for Elka to finish her recruitment.
Yeah.
If we don't think we need henchmen right now, then we can just do a little bit more gather information to see exactly what other rumors are floating about us, if anybody has pointed the finger at us, and then leave within the day.
To be fair, Elka was in the shadows in that last fight, so
Yeah, but remember that they basically saw all of us in that other village, and then they spotted Hawk's.
Guilt by association is what he's getting at.
Yeah.
And they also saw us having a kumbaya back in the back of the house. So, people start putting things together. It's like, okay, well, I saw this and I saw that, and one thing leads to the other, and the one thing we don't want is to be dragged to have questioning by the Lord, ruin our reputation in our town completely, where we have a house, and have the house burned down, and then someone go like, "Oh, I remember him," because I'm also a half hobgoblin, so people already are prejudiced against me. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're worried about your reputation, I think that's already going to go down the shitter if it's already come to, hey, they're getting reinforcements from the next town and coming over here. If you were actually going to lean on your reputation, though, I'd assume that maybe you'd want to, bolster your reputation in a place that already likes you by, calling them liars. Hopefully the town backs you up.
Well, let me share a little bit of helpful life experience. When it comes down to it, when the authorities are probably on the lookout, then they know your face, a pleasant walk through the woods tends to make everyone forget about you.
Also, the only people that remember what we did for the town is Alka and me. And I didn't do much of anything, but
I didn't do much either.
Yeah, everybody else is either gone or dead. So our reputation is a bit shattered. It's like, oh, but there was the rest of you. It's like, they're dead, gone.
So the options are
not a good look.
Yeah.
Well, if you would like, we could continue on to find your missing companion.
True.
At the same time, I would be remiss if not to point out that if they are chasing us, they may well catch up to us on the road. Instead of somewhere defensible like your home.
Well, the thing is, this place is not very defensible. Because the way I see it, if they manage to convince the local lord that they need reinforcements, but okay, these guys showed up, local lord, but the militia or anything, the guards haven't come up to arrest us or anything, right?
Nope.
They just sent a missive, right? They sent.
I heard them talking.
That's interesting.
Or I heard them talking.
See, the thing is that I didn't pick up that they had sent a missive or a runner back or anything like that until Eli said, hey, if they send someone back, which tells me that the GM is thinking about it. So, the only reason it's even in my head is because Eli said it.
Yeah, that's what Hawksick overheard.
Okay.
Is that someone ran, headed off to up the road.
But again, the point I'm throwing out there is that if they are riding horses back here, that we're going to get ridden down by horses on the road more than likely, rather than, anywhere else. Our only opportunity is that we get to declare our ground where we're going to fight. Or otherwise, we're going to get surprised and attacked by Eli's favorite, mounted combat.
I mean, we could set up a place outside of town that's defensible for us.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Do the whole sticks on the ground thing again, and this time actually use it for advantage.
Yeah, use the territory.
You mean a palisade?
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
I am somewhat adept at carpentry. I could perhaps fashion something professional.
So your plan is to build a palisade around your house?
No.
It
Not here.
worked in I Am Legend, the original, and Omega Man, the remake. Held
Actually, I
off
wouldn't.
vampires.
Certainly won't draw any attention at all.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it around this particular house.
Well, go the whole Omega Man route. We burn down the houses around us so that we have a sight line of people start approaching, and then we build ditches and palisades. Fuckers ain't getting us.
Yeah, I don't think fighting in town is going to be good for us. If
Yeah,
it comes
Lunella,
to a fight.
you had brought up an idea. What was that you were talking about? What was your proposal? What were you talking?
Me?
Yeah, you had started saying something and then stopped.
No, I agree that we should use the territory to defend ourselves, set up a
Yeah.
camp. And I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're coming after us if they're possibly going for reinforcements.
Maybe the local lord decided that he's not going to support them, but it's not going to stop them from, getting somewhere else.
That's also
Anybody
possible.
who's ever watched the stream knows that my plans always come to two different movies. One, Weekend at Bernie's, and I don't think there's enough dead bodies around for us to, make either people believe that we have an army or, that they're actually alive when they're supposed to be dead. Or two, the end of Three Amigos, where we dig a bunch of holes in the ground and all dress up the same, so that it seems like there's more of us than there actually are, and all the horses follow the water pits.
Yeah, but that took convincing the local people to dress up.
And these three Hollywood elites somehow managed to get an entire Mexican town to believe in them. What are we, if not Hollywood elites? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And you, Orbill, who killed the singing sword.
So I hear you guys are you want to set up a palisade of some kind, or like a defensive. You start setting up a defensive position
Not here.
outside
Yeah,
the
not
city.
here.
Yeah.
How far outside of town do you want it to be?
Well, this is a flat terrain, or is there a rise or something?
Looking if you look at this map here, there is a slight rise as you go to the southwest.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, there's not an unless you want to go. You could go farther. You could go farther southwest, and then that's when you start actually reaching the foothills of the Biff Mountains. So if you wanted to, you could continue and go into foothills if you wanted to get farther out of town.
If we assumed that they were on horses, how long did you say it would take them to get back?
You think it'll take them 3 days to get there, and maybe 2 days to get back?
If they're on horses.
Yeah. Well, the runner was on foot.
Okay, so you're saying if they ride horses back, it's a 2-day journey. And it would take them 3 days to get there, so we're on 3 days left before their return if they ride back on horses.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that we could conceivably get 3 days away from town on foot. Or I guess, I don't know how long. 3 days away on foot before they catch up to us. If we want to move back to the overland map to see how far away 3 days away would be to set up an ambush on a, 2-day away trek. So then we might make movements to get closer to wherever Eric might be. So at least we're making headway towards something else in addition to setting up the ambush. Because I guess my suggestion that I would make in character would be to set up a campsite along the river so that we can then reduce the amount of space we need to cover in palisades, and also cover our backs against a horse ambush from the waterfront, because they're not going to cross the river on horse to try and catch us. That would be suicide, especially when you have a known archer.
There's also, so now that we're looking at the major map of the area around you, there's also two different rivers. There's the Upper Bith River, which is a large river, in which it's more of river when you think of river, and then you are on kind of a creek that runs in a tributary of the Upper Bith River, and that's the one that runs through Terran. So there's kind of two different rivers that you could try to use that tactic on.
Right, but if we think that Eric is heading towards Bashan and we want to make movement towards catching up with Eric, then we would probably want to make our stand along the Upper Bith River on our backs. Seeing as I
Sounds
think
reasonable.
the road goes along that, right? I have a hard time seeing it on this map.
Yes.
I think that dotted line is next to the river.
Yes, yeah, there is a road. The road runs right along the Upper Bith River from Terran to Bashan.
So conceivably, we could make a 2-day trek in this direction, follow along the river. 2 days out, we stop, make a camp along the riverside, start setting up palisades, and the next day, because in that day they should catch up to us if they ride out directly against us.
Yep.
And in the
Yeah.
meantime, get another 2 or 3 days of healing in as well.
That sounds good.
Sounds like a plan to me.
What he said.
All right. So you guys have heard this news, and you're marching down out along this road to find a spot to set up an ambush. There's a number of, you can go, we'll say this is kind of halfway through the day, so you can go a decent distance. There's, if you kind of look at this map, you'll see it steadily starts to grow in elevation as you go up this river valley. How far would you like to go into as it starts gaining elevation? Like, as you start gaining more and more elevation, the sides of the canyon start getting just a little bit steeper, and there's less of a shore next to the river.
Not to sideline this question you're asking, how far into the second day did Huxic come back with this information?
We'll say about halfway through that second day, because you guys have been doing some discussion about it, and it'll probably take some time for you guys to think about what to do.
So there would be time to convince somebody to be swayed over to the congregation.
Potentially.
If I get them in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we already know where Huxic was in that morning, so the only person left in camp is Elka. And by camp, I mean the house.
Well, Elka was out recruiting and asking around. So, but there's surely enough time that you could catch her in a break. Elka, what is your character, or what is Elka doing at the moment?
Elka, what time is it?
We'll say it's mid-morning.
Elka's just waking up. She's a little bit lazy.
All right. So you're just getting ready to go out and start recruiting,
Yeah.
and a dark shadow approaches you.
Hello.
Good afternoon. I do not believe I have been fully acquainted yet.
It is nice to meet you, slow talker.
I like to fully consider my words before they are, or even during them being completely spoken.
Ah. You think before you speak, I see.
More so that I think while I am speaking.
What do you come to me for, old man?
Well, first, I would enjoy knowing your name.
My name is Elka, but my family in Slen called me Elka the bear.
Okay. Well, I am not your family, so I guess I will be calling you Ilka. You may address me as Ahriman.
Okay, Ariman.
You mentioned that you or your family were from Slen. Yes?
Yes, although I have gone on an adventure.
Interesting. Are you a practicing member of the Flay Master?
I am not. I am just a knight.
A knight
Sorry,
of
not a knight. I
a
am I am on an adventure to try to become a knight.
I don't think that changed is the question I was in the middle of asking. A knight of a martial order?
No order yet.
Not even a monastic one?
No, my parents raised me to not have any practice.
By what do you mean?
I am not religious.
For any particular reason?
No particular reason. We were raised to fight, and that is what I do.
Have you ever considered what may happen to you after you die?
I do not have time to think about such things. I am so young.
Yes, but death comes to us all, often before we consider it our time.
This is true. I did almost die the other day.
Yes, and it would be a shame to approach the afterlife unprepared.
And what kind of preparation are you speaking of?
I am a harbinger of the congregation of the dead. It is my specific duty to prepare those souls for their journey to the afterlife.
Are you recruiting me or something to some this congregation you speak of?
It is my intent to do so to willing participants.
If it would make you happy, then I will do it.
It would behoove me to have those with martial prowess, such as yourself, able and willing to join such cause.
What must I do to join your cause?
Join me in prayer.
Prayer. I have never prayed before, but okay.
And this time we do it in a house. Tell us,
All right.
Eli, how many wandering people walk through the house?
Ah,
You look over at the window and you see a little face peeking in. Duck down.
What you doing in there?
Huh? Huh? What's going on? Huh? Why are you holding hands? What's going on in there?
begone, you scoundrels!
Woo! So you don't have to. We've got that spell already in the chat. You anoint uh you anoint Elka,
What's
and she is
Elko's
now.
primary language?
What is your primary language, Elka?
Gosh, I've forgotten. Deji.
All right.
Dej.
Dej.
Yeah. Why do you ask that?
No, I just figured I'd give them the name of the Lord of the Underworld in their specific languages, so it,
Figure.
because on your sheet there's a thing to check mark if you're anointed and what god it is, and
Yeah.
like I put up there what it is in Hobgoblin. I mean, I don't know if Orbital speaks Hobgoblin primarily, but I'd assume he
No,
would
I
have been.
don't.
You don't?
That's right.
What's your primary
No,
Just
language?
hobgoblin.
My primary language is DJ.
Okay, well, same thing there then.
Mhm.
I got
And
the
the other one
listing for
is
most languages of what the god is known as.
And Murky
Yeah.
Stone.
I think it depends on what, like, since I think Orbital chose to be human raised, and so that
Mhm,
changed
yeah.
who his primary language was as opposed to be Hobgoblin.
Mhm.
So this is we'll say you guys are doing that and then marching out to set up your new campsite today on the second day. Is that, or are you waiting till the next day to
I
go
believe that
out
was the
and?
plan, since it's midday on the second
Mhm.
day. That
Mhm.
way we can march for 2 days, stop for a day to set up our encampment and our palisades and whatnot, and then wait for them.
All right. So I'll move back to. Well, actually, I'm already on this map. Oh, great, wonderful. Forgot which map we were on. So you guys march out for the first 5 miles or so for the next day, and you start climbing up this road in this river valley, and you're starting to enter these mountains. They're all starting to rise up and tower above you. Eric, you, for the last kind of few days, you've been in an unconscious kind of darkness. Maybe you've been having, does Eric dream?
Of electric sheep.
Sometimes.
Right. Do you think being unconscious for these 2 days might give him, like, would he dream, and do you think it would be more of a nightmare or more pleasant, more happy things?
Well, since his God saved him, I think they'd be more of victories, dreams of victories in war for his God, or being at the side of his God during these
Right.
victories.
So it's a lot of like Conan the Barbarian style dreams that you're having. There's battle. You're scaling towers and stealing and fighting, and it's like really uh, blood pumping things, and at one point you lop off the head of an enemy and you like roar in victory, and with that kind of roar, you feel yourself shoot awake, and your eyes snap open, and all of a sudden you're aware of all the wounds that you currently have, and your body aches something fierce. You can see you're in some sort of hovel, and you see pelts and animals hanging from the ceiling. You see what looks like maybe dried herbs of some variety. Looking around, you see kind of a spear leaning up against the entrance of the door, and everything around you looks just a little bit rickety, and you can kind of see progress here and there. Like you'll see one chair that was carved awfully, but then the next chair next to it is actually fairly decent, and it looks like with you being a barbarian, you might even be used to recognizing what you're seeing, and a lot of it looks like it's been homemade, out of just one. Like it all has the same kind of touch to it. Like one person has carved everything on the inside of this. Looking down, you see all your wounds are currently bandaged. What do you do?
Who's there? Is anyone there? I yell out.
You finally woken! This is quite exciting. And you hear kind of a flurry of activity, and you hear a banging of a pot, and into the kind of doorway hobbles this fellow right here. Now, some of you might have thought you'd have forgotten about him, but Breddard. So one thing that happens is when you make a character that has really bad stats, you can just turn over that character, name him, and he becomes an NPC. This is one of such characters. So, if you'll see, there's a little picture there on his. Yep, but Breddard, you see, he's rather old and haggard. His skin is wrinkled as can be, and he's gotten a lot of sun. The clothing that he wears looks like a hodgepodge of furs and maybe sewn clothing, but most of it looks rather homemade. And he cries, "Ah, you've woken! How delightful! How are you feeling today?"
I, I, I feel like I need more rest. Thank you, old man.
Old, no, just wise. My name is Breddard. And what is your name? You are certainly in a sorry lot when I found you passed out on the road.
Yes, I, 4 wolves came on me. I go by Eric.
Ah,
How did you
my.
find me?
Oh, well, I was just doing a little bit of my wandering, looking for things here and there, and seeing what I could. The sunset just looks so beautiful from the mountains. And there I found you, passed out. Well, to be honest, first I thought you were dead, and whew, you got a nice bit of money there. Luckily, it doesn't do me much good. But then you moved, and nearly scared the life out of me. Well, you were what some might say mostly dead.
Well, I'm forever in your debt for helping me out. Where are we?
Ooh, do you not recognize it? And he throws his hands out to the small hut. The manor of Breddard the Great. Welcome, welcome. There will be a feast at. He looks at the sun. At. I don't really know what they all call it, but there will be a feast in one finger of sun time. So,
A feast.
make sure to wear your fanciest clothing, for there will be ladies.
Of course. And I sit up if I'm able to push myself up.
Yeah, you're barely able to push yourself up to sitting.
What are all these things all over me, all over my wounds here?
Ah, well, you were severely hurt, so I had to do what I could to help you. I saved your life, boy.
Yes, yes, and I owe you so much.
The least I could do.
What can I do for you?
Oh, well, just keep me a little bit of company, I guess. Tell me, what were you doing out there all alone, huh?
Well, there were some witch hunters that took my brother, and I followed him as far as the wolves, and I was on my way to Bash, and uh, when I came across those wolves, and uh, yeah, this is as far as I've got.
Ah, well, if it's witch hunters, maybe just leave them alone. Are you a witch?
No, but I think
Well,
they were
easy.
mistaken. They took the wrong person.
Who'd they take?
My brother.
Was he a witch?
I don't think so. I didn't
Hmm.
know that he was.
Well, that's awful, awful, awful. I've known a fair share of my witch hunters in my days. That's why I keep to the woods. I'm the hunter here.
Probably a good way to be.
Well, I have get ready. There will be a feast. I have to go prepare, of course. There are many dishes for such a royal guest as he.
Yes. Okay.
If you need any of your clothing, I've piled it all right there. And he gestures towards kind of the foot of the bed, and you see there's a backpack with all the stuff that you were carrying, and your weapons are kind of laid out in a little pile.
Okay. Oh, I'll get dressed and kind of resuit up.
All right. So you're getting dressed, and you hear a call out uh, from outside. Oh, the feast is ready, Your Highness. What do you do?
All right. I'll follow him out
All right. So you step outside, and you
and
see there's a little.
look around.
Yeah. You see you're out along. You're in the woods. And you're out along the edge of a small lake, and you see right next to this little hovel, he's got a little fire going, and there's a large flat stone that looks like he's been using as a dining table. And you see uh, there's two platters set out, and a large iron kettle that's been put on the table. That's the only food it looks like, but it smells delicious. However, also at the table are several twigs and assortments that look like small people. You see, they've got like buttons and stones for eyes, and like leaf dresses. And he says, "Ah, a big round of applause for our guest. Please, the seat of honor."
I'll follow him and thank you all. I'll kind of play along with.
He'll sit down, and he plops down some. It's really a delicious smelling little stew that he's got, and you see there's chunks of meat and several root vegetables, and it looks like a good meal he set out in front of you. Enjoy the feast. And he sits down and starts eating.
All right, I'll start eating as well. So, how long have you been out here, Fredard?
Oh, a long, long time. This is my home. Been out here as long as I could.
How far are we away from Terran?
Terran. What's Terran?
Or how close are we to a town? Is there any towns nearby? Or
Oh, yes, yes. There is a wee little village, but that way, across the river.
this the stew is very good. Is that where you get your supplies, or do you use it yourself?
Oh, well, I didn't grow it myself. That was Mother Nature. I just caught it. That thing right there. Ooh, I used to call him Rocky Raccoon.
It's good. Do you ever go into the village?
Ah, those a bunch of hoots. They're crazy as the day is long. I avoid them. Luckily, they're not
Don't need
very
'em with it.
skilled out here.
And you don't need them with everything that you have out here.
Indeed, I have my own castle.
Do you fish in the lake?
Oh, when I can, I do, but I take here and there. Depends on what I'm really hangering for. Mostly, I do trapping.
What do you trap?
Little bit of everything. Little bit of everything. Not too much of one thing, though. Balance must be maintained.
You didn't catch any wolves lately, have you?
Hey, wolves. Tell you what I did caught. I did catch a butterfly the other day. Now,
Those
they are related.
they're tough to catch.
Indeed. So, now that I've warmed myself up on butterflies, I could certainly try to catch a wolf. Is that what you hunt?
Well, that's what I feel like hunting right now.
Well, if you ever wish to join me for butterflies or a fish, I could always use good hands.
We'll have to do that sometime.
Delightful! I love company. And so do my friends. Oh, yes, we love company.
What are their names?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. This is Martin. That is Lucille. Down there is Morgan. And that little friend next to you, his name is Ivy. Don't touch him. He is made out of poison ivy.
Got it.
He's
Well, all
got
right.
what you might call a prickly personality.
Oh yeah. So when I stand up, when I look around, uh, how high up are we?
You're somewhere on the sides of the Biff Mountains. You're not all the way up the to the near the top, but you're somewhere still in the Corin Woods because you're seeing a pine forest up and below you as well. But you have a great view of the upper Bith River and most of the valley, or like most of the valley and the forest below you. You think you're somewhere in this area, like somewhere in the mountains, right around here. That's where you'd guess.
I didn't see the ping.
Just right about where the we are here. Oh, I was on the
Yeah.
GM's layer. Oh, I'm a fool. I keep doing that.